Hey sisters, it's me, Jennifer Jayde. I just wanted to pop on here tonight because I've been feeling that internal push, that nudge to share this message with you. So I obey when my inner guide, my intuition is telling me to share this with you. So here I am, 9 o'clock at night. Was kind of just ready to read a book for the rest of the night, and then boom, this came in, and so I trust that it's meant for you, whether you're watching the live or the replay. So let me know if you're here, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. So what I'm going to talk to you tonight, I almost didn't, because I felt like maybe it was a little bit advanced, and I thought maybe it was a little might rub some people the wrong way or offend some people. And then I realized, you know what, it's not my job to filter, and it's not my job to keep these messages that are coming through for you. So if you'd like to hear it, let me know. Say hi. Hi, Kirsten. Hi, Tracy. Yay, thanks for joining me, ladies. I'm going to do a quick little... Oh, I see. Nope, never mind. I thought maybe I could share this with a few other people, but not happening. That's okay. It wasn't meant for them. What I'm going to talk to you about tonight is of a personal nature, but I want you to understand the correlation between working on yourself and really doing this deep work that I'm going to talk about tonight, and even outside of the scope of what I'm going to talk about tonight, the value of doing this kind of deep work on yourself is what frees you to be of service to the world, to be a light in the world, to be a beacon for other people, to show the way, to light the way, to lead the way for others. So the most powerful way that you can lead a meaningful life, a life aligned with your purpose, your joy, your passion, is for you to really be digging in to anything that might be holding you back from doing so. So it's not about you, running out there and doing as many things as you can for as many people as you can and running yourself totally exhausted. It's about you digging deep, doing this kind of work, not only for your own happiness and your own joy and your own release of things and thoughts and patterns and behaviors that don't serve you. That's for your own peace of mind, number one, and your own joy and your own living this life to the fullest, number one. But number two, I know a lot of us have that desire to be of service in the world, to help others in some way that is meaningful to us. And the best way you could do that is by being the absolute best version of yourself. So let me know in the comments if you would agree with that. What I want to talk to you tonight is, I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory, because I think if I just jump right into the main premise, it might seem a little bit odd. So just to be totally open with you and transparent with you and give you my personal experience with this, a couple of years ago, 2014, so over 3 years ago, going on 4 years ago, I experienced in my family something that was devastating. At the time, it felt like a betrayal by one of the closest members in my family to me. And I honestly was devastated. I was crushed, because this was someone who I had gone to the ends of the earth and back for. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but this person had faced extreme difficulties in their life. And I went to extreme measures to be there for that person, for that family member. And in 2014, there was an event where, in my human perception, that person chose to betray me and the other members of my family. So I don't know if anyone can relate to that. I hope not. I really hope not. But anyways, let's just say that this was the beginning of me really being invited to explore forgiveness. and what that meant to me and what that looked like. And I'm not talking about, there's been other times in my life where I've forgiven people or needed to forgive people for, friends along the lines, whatever. I've needed to apologize. I've needed to ask for forgiveness, and I've needed to forgive friends and kind of for more surfacey type things or maybe secondary level type things. But this was like the deepest thing that I had ever experienced, where I wondered if forgiveness was even truly possible. And there was that deeper part of me that said, all things are forgivable, all things. I honestly believe all things are forgivable. But I needed to connect that deeper knowing with my head that was like, I don't understand how that's forgivable though. I just don't. I just don't. And I didn't want to just say the words and lie to myself that I had forgiven this person. I didn't want to, just for the sake of sweeping it under the rug and making myself feel better and making myself feel like I'm a good person, just say, I forgive them. It is what it is. It's too bad, but no sense in hanging on to it. All is forgiven. All is well. And although it's easy to say those words, and I wanted to believe those words so bad because I didn't want to be carrying this around, I knew there was a part of me that just, it wasn't 100% true. And so over the last 3 or so years, it's just been this little thing in the back of my mind that I've always kind of wanted to learn more about. I wanted to really understand forgiveness. I wanted to know, how do you forgive someone who you feel what they did was absolutely intentional? It wasn't an oopsie or a misunderstanding or anything like that. This was a very much planned and calculated, intentional thing. And I just, it really invited me. It really encouraged me and invited me and gave me the opportunity to step up to the plate and really understand the life lesson of forgiveness. So one of the first things that I learned about this is that, as you already know, forgiving someone doesn't mean that you are agreeing with what they did. So that's like the basic thing, right? That I think we've all kind of heard before. When you forgive someone, it doesn't mean that you agree with what they did or that you are even okaying what they did. So that's number one. But the second level, kind of the next level that I took this to a little while ago, and then I'm going to get to even deeper level, and that's the one at the core of tonight's message. The second thing that I realized was that I don't need to understand this person in order to forgive them. I don't need to understand their actions or why they did what they did. And that for a long time was holding me back from forgiving, because I could not for the life of me understand how you could do that to someone. So anyone in the world, but especially, a close family member that you were once very tight with. And then I realized, just because two people wouldn't have taken the same action, I wouldn't have taken the same action. Also, I've never been in this person's situation, so I can't say for sure. I mean, I know in my heart that I wouldn't, but I haven't been in this situation, number one, so I am just making assumptions that I wouldn't have taken the same action. But number two, it doesn't mean that I can't forgive someone even if I can't understand or justify their actions. So that was really big for me, to differentiate the two, forgiveness and understanding or justifying the actions. So that was relieving for me. That was kind of the second level of relief. But what I really wanted to get into tonight was when I realized that, should I say when I connected the dots, that every single experience in your life is to your benefit. every single moment, every single experience is to your benefit, is to your highest and best benefit. And it's the human side of us that's attached to whether or not that action was good or bad, right or wrong, forgivable or not forgivable. That is the human ego side of us that has attached to that situation, if it's right, if it's wrong, if it's good, if it's bad, how hurtful it is, how wrong that person was. So if you digest that just for a minute, how could something that someone else did that wronged you or hurt you very much, how could that be to your benefit? Well, immediately I think of one of my favorite people who ever walked the earth in my lifetime, Dr. Wayne Dyer. And let me know in the comments if you're familiar with Dr. Wayne Dyer at all. And in his book, and in several of his books, but in his book, I can see clearly now, amazing book. He talks about a situation where in the moment he was pissed off, angered, hurt, and then he jumps to, where he was in his 60s, I think, when he wrote the book, and now he's explaining his view of the situation now that he has the 20/20 hindsight and the majority of his life behind him by that point. And one of the most hurtful things for him in his life was that, Talia, yeah, loves Wayne Dyer too, I know. Hi, Selena. Oh, you love Wayne Dyer too, that's so cool. Okay, I'm happy you're happy with this topic. I didn't know if it was totally out of left field, but I just trust if it's coming through, it's coming through. So he said one of the most hurtful things in his life, the person that did the most wrong to him in his life was his father. His father left his mother with, I think, was 3 boys. Forgive me if I'm not quoting this correctly. 3 young boys under the age of 5, left her penniless. He was a drunk, he left, he was useless, and Wayne's mother was so poor that she actually could not. Could you imagine? I'm not a mother, but I could only imagine not being able to provide for my kids, and things were so bad for her, she actually had to put her boys into foster care. She had to give them up. That's how broke and unable to provide for them she was. And so when Wayne was old enough to understand what his father had done and the situation that he had left his mother in and what she had to do and how painful and hurtful that was for her to give up her sons like that. I think it was for a couple years, and then I think she did get them back. And then to never show up, never send a birthday card, never, nothing, ever. He found out that his dad had passed away when he was in his, I think it was 30. Anyway, it was 40 years before he passed to the day he went to visit his father's grave. It was exactly 40 years on the exact date. If anyone didn't know that, Wayne Dyer passed away 40 years to the date of when he went to visit his father's grave. And the only reason he went to his father's grave was, does anyone know? Has anyone read this or know this part about Wayne Dyer and why he went to go visit his father's grave? Maybe I'm just like a creepy fan of his. He went there to piss on his grave. He went to go piss on his father's grave. That's why the only reason he drove, however long he drove, to go find his dad's grave, it was to piss on it. And as he went there, he started talking to his dad, and he was expressing his anger. And he didn't actually piss on it. He went to walk away. And he said he doesn't really understand what happened to him in that moment, but suddenly he was just overcome with this feeling of love. Like it just enveloped him and absorbed all into him. And it made him emotional. For some reason, it's making me emotional right now. And he turned around, and it was kind of like everything made sense to him. And he understood that his dad played the exact role in his life, even though he wasn't actually ever present in Wayne's life. But he played the character, he played the role exactly as Wayne needed him to be, so that Wayne could become the man that he was in that moment. He became an amazing father. He became a writer. He became an excellent teacher, nurturer, caregiver. And one of the main reasons he attributes that, well, at first, was to his dad and his upbringing. And so he realized and he thanked his dad for playing that role and for willing to be the villain, in his life. And he said, "I love you, Dad." And so instead of pissing on his grave, he forgave him and he understood and he said, "I love you." And he had this sense of closure and peace as he walked away. And I share that story because it kind of gives you an idea of a bird's eye view of anything that you perceive to have been wrong that happened to you, or that someone did to you, or something that was unfair in your life, or something that you deem as absolutely horrible, or horrific, or tragic. That's not to take away that it was very sad and emotional, and we are human and we have human emotions, but there's just something about that story that reminds me that even in the times where you are the most angered, the most upset, the most offended, the most hurt, the most dumbfounded, eventually you come to a place where you see that served you in some way. That served you. Whether it was figuring out who you don't want to be, or helping other people who have experienced that same kind of a thing in their life. I mean, here I am now sharing with you about forgiveness when the last 3.5 years I've been wondering how on earth could I ever forgive this person. And, here I am learning how to do that and sharing it with you. So maybe your own story of forgiveness will help heal somebody else who needs that type of healing as well. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about this topic, because I know there's families who have really horrible things happen, and this is not to offend people who are going through right now really rough times, especially when children are involved. It's like, well, this doesn't make sense to me, and why would this be okay for a child to have to go through this, or and I can't answer that for you, because those answers are going to come to you when you're ready to receive them. But just know that everything is happening for every single person's benefit. Even if they are the one going through the rough thing or the disease or whatever it is, there's a reason for it. You know what? I recently hired someone to help me take my dreams to the next level. There's been something that I've been really wanting to do in my life and in my business, and so it's been the one thing that I've been putting off the most, because when it's something that you're kind of looking forward to and it's in the distance, it's like, oh yeah, there it is, something to look forward to one day, someday. And so I've kind of always kept it at this like, oh yeah, won't that be nice when I get around to doing that? But when you really go after it, that's when you're going to find out whether you're going to fall or fly, whether you're going to fail or it's really going to happen. So it's really easy to put that thing on the back burner and procrastinate and delay doing it and have it kind of off in the distance as something to aspire to or look forward to one day. But I thought, you know what? I could be gone 6 months from now. I could be gone 3 months from now. I could be gone 30 days from now. And I would really, really like to know what could have been. I would like to know what's possible. I would like to stretch my own boundaries. I would like to push my own limits. And I don't want to wait until it's too late. I don't want to wait until my health is taken from me or something happens or my time is up. I don't want to wait. You know, my time could be up at any possible moment, and there's something that I've been meaning to do, and there's no better time to start than right now. I don't know who says that quote, the best time to plant a seed for a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is right now, today. So I hired someone to help me actually get this going and to make this my reality and to step into this role and as myself and in my business. And the woman that I hired, she was just telling me the other day that she has for her entire life battled with heart problems. Like she's had to have, I don't know the actual name of it, but she's had to have open heart surgeries more times than she can count. She's had to have scars and all of these. She couldn't participate in so many things. She missed a lot of school. There was a lot of times in her life where she felt like crap, or she was recovering from surgery and she didn't know when she was going to feel like crap again. And she really felt like it was stunting her and it was horrible, and people pitied her and felt sorry for her. And now that she has really taken ownership of this and she's really come out the other side, and she still has the scars and things, but she just owns it, she accepts it, and she makes the best of it. And when she tells people her story of, you know, what she endured growing up, they look at her with the pity and, oh, I'm so sorry, and oh, why would you manifest that, or oh, that's not very fair, and oh, that's horrible. And she says, do you know, because the whole thing this came about is I told her how good she was at what she teaches and what her job is. I'm like, gosh, you're so good at this. Like, how did you get to be so good? And she said, Jen, it's because I never knew when I was going to be feeling good or when I was going to be feeling like shit. So when I was feeling good, I had to get things done. And she's like, so now I'm able to do that. I'm able to do things fast. I'm able to teach people how to get things out there and how to do what I do. And she said, and I know that without the struggle, without the heart problems, without everything that I've faced and been through, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do now. So the message that I want to come across is be curious about what you're attaching your self-worth to, your happiness to, and your ideas to, your stories to. So I had made a story, which I'm not condemning myself for taking this long to truly understand forgiveness, 3.5 years. That was my process, and that's the time that I needed, divine timing. I trust that everything had to unfold exactly as it did. But I now understand that I was connecting my human thoughts, my human perception, not my soul, not my divine connection, not my knowingness or my truth of who I am and who you are, these limitless beings. But I was in my mind making this story that this person did me wrong. And I don't know if I can forgive them. And I don't know how to forgive them. And I don't understand why they did what they did. And how could anyone ever do that? And I would never do that to someone. And how do you do that to a family member? And, oh, how do I forgive this person? Is that like okaying what they did to me? And I don't even, if I can't understand how they can do it, how can I forgive it? And you know, this person really hurt me. They don't deserve to be, they don't deserve my forgiveness. You know, there's all this type of ego, human-based story going on. And when I dropped from my head into my heart and I realized, you know what? Yeah, that really hurt me, and that's okay. And yeah, I was really sad, and that's okay. But there's something about that experience that was for me. That was for my highest and best evolution, learning, expansion. Something about that was good for me. And if you're in a place where maybe something bad has happened to you, maybe something in your upbringing that you feel is really terrible, or someone did you wrong, or someone didn't raise you well, or someone did something to you, and you're not yet in the place of being like, you know what, I know why that happened to me because it taught me this, or it helped me learn that, or it pointed me in the direction to this. If you're not yet in the place of being able to say or to pinpoint how that helped you, or how it bettered you, or how it improved you, or how it redirected your steps, or how it taught you who not to be, if you're not able to have that clarity just yet, at least, if you can, get to the place of trusting that it was for your highest and best good. And if you can, take it one step further and silently thank that person, just as Wayne Dyer did with his dad, for playing the role that they needed to play to support you in your evolvement, in your enlightenment, in your growth. I hope that resonates. I hope it makes some sense. I'm going to have a quick peek. I have my laptop here. I can never really see all the comments on my phone, so I'm going to have a quick peek here. If anyone has questions, feel free to drop them in the thread below. If you're watching the replay, you're also welcome to drop some comments, questions below. I'm happy to answer them. Yeah. So Kirsten's here, Tracy's here. Hi, ladies. Hi, Pat. Thanks for joining. Hi, Megan. Hi, Talia. Thanks for being here. Kirsten, Talia. Selena, love Wayne. Yay. Giselle. Wayne Dyer. I love him too. Yes, Talia. Talia is my fact checker for me for Wayne Dyer. So 3 boys. Yes, and she knew he was going to piss on the grave too. Selena says, it's like that quote about not thinking why this is happening to me and thinking instead, what is this trying to teach me? Yes, 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 yes. And sometimes if you're still too in it, if you don't have the hindsight yet, if you don't have the perspective yet, like if this is the situation and you're still kind of close to it, you may not be able to find the lesson just yet, and you don't have to bang your head against a wall trying to find the lesson in order to forgive that person. You can instead just trust that in due time, this will make sense to you. This will be shown why it was in your best, your highest and best interest. And until then, just trust it. Allow yourself to feel the emotion and the humanness part of you. I am not encouraging you to ignore that or to stifle that in any way. But when you've released the emotion, you've acknowledged the emotion, you've released the emotion, and it's time for you to move on. Trust that even if you don't know the lesson yet, you don't have the clarity yet, you can just know that it was re-guiding your steps, or it was teaching you something, or it was showing you something, or it was mirroring something, or it was triggering something that is going to help you further along your path. Even if you don't know what that is quite yet, you will eventually know. And maybe you'll write a book. I can see clearly now, just like Wayne Dyer did. Lynette, this is absolutely, I get it. I know I should forgive, but I feel like I don't hurt others, so them hurting me isn't fair. You know what's coming up for me here, Lynette, and I wish we could have a back and forth dialogue so I could know if I was on the right track here, is if there's a pattern of people hurting you, then that in itself might be something for you to get curious about. So is there some way that you are dishonoring yourself or not standing in your full truth and your full power, and people are mirroring that back to you and you're allowing these people to come into your life and hurt you? I don't want to say you're allowing it, but it's kind of like the universe is bringing this repetition into your life to give you the opportunity to see where there's an area for you to raise above the vibration of people who would want to hurt you. I have no idea if that is a pattern in your life, but if it is, patterns are brought to us so that we will see them and get the lesson. And they're repeatedly put in front of us until we get the lesson. So I have no idea if that is a pattern, but maybe it's something to get curious about. This was always something I thought, but I didn't really know it until this year going through tough stuff. It's all for me. Yay, Danielle. You know what? Isn't it so powerful, the difference between logically understanding something or logically hearing someone talk about forgiveness or teach about forgiveness? But it's not until it becomes intrinsic. It's something about it lands in your soul. And when it lands in your soul, something shifts. These dots connect. And it's like you can release. You can release that thorn, that shadow, that dark cloud that was hovering. So I don't know if this has helped shift for you or for anyone watching. I hope it has. But I really felt called to share that message tonight around, one, of course, forgiving someone. As you know, I'm sure I've already heard, forgiving someone does not mean that you agree with their actions or that you're okaying their actions. Forgiving does not mean you even understand that. And I was getting hung up on that. It doesn't mean that you understand what they did or that you would ever do that. You don't have to be able to understand someone in order to forgive them and forgive the situation. And three, instead of getting stuck in the head, trying to understand, trying to make sense. The head always wants to try and logically make sense of everything. Well, why would this person do that to me? And that's unfair. And, I would never do that. And so how did this happen to me? And so forth, and deciding, attaching the story, attaching the cord that action was right or wrong, good or bad, that person is good or bad, that action is good or bad, and your head is making these stories and these connections and these strings, instead dropping down into the soul and being like, you know what, it's not okay for someone to treat me like that. And I don't understand why someone would behave that way, or why someone would do that to me, or why this situation has been brought into my life. But I trust it is of my highest and best interest. Crystal says, excited to watch the replay. Yeah, we're just finishing up, Crystal. Thanks for hopping on, though, and saying hi. I miss you, girl. Danielle says, huge weight off when I actually felt and realized I could release the control and notes it was all for my well-being in the long run. Hearing you reiterate this has brought me to tears. Happy tears. Thank you. Danielle, thank you. And thank you for sharing that with me, too. Thank you so much. I hope this has served you. If you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments if any of this resonates with you, if this message was meant for you. Say hi, let me know where you're watching from. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I send you so much love, and I will see you next time.